I gotta hit the beat. I gotta hit the beat, beat. I gotta hit the beat. I gotta hit the beat, beat. I gotta hit the beat. I gotta I gotta it's the end of October. Champagne on the shoulder. This is my exposure. Pop that bottle, it's over. It's the end of October. Champagne on the shoulder. This is my exposure. Pop that all night long, but the feeling keeps kicking in. Beef with all the girls, bullshit dripping off the chin. Pop that all night long, but the feeling keeps kicking in. Beef with all the girls, bullshit dripping off the chin.
Bringing anything to the table, bro. I'm not your son, see I'm able. I do my own bits. Limited edition of some missing classic shit. I know that you're feeling it. Feel mad, cold nights feel heavy. Same place, going in the heart of the city. Nitty gritty feels iffy and the eyes feel shifty. The shit we're in, yo, it's all mad risky.
All night long, but the feeling keeps kicking in. Beef with all the girls, bullshit dripping off the chin. All night long, but the feeling keeps kicking in. Beef with all the girls, bullshit dripping off the chin.
Man hate. Welcome to the Promo Observer. I'm sorry, dang. Take two. Man hate. Welcome to the Promo Observer. I am your host, Ultra Ego Bones, and I'm going to bring on the two gentlemen who are going to be sitting to my left and to my right. First and foremost, if it ain't white, it ain't right, so I'm bringing the white man up first, Dr. Quack.
Hey, here I am.
And the other guy we got with us, some guy goes by the name of Wave Seltzer.
Uno, dos, tres, cuatro, taco.
My man.
You getting 2 stars.
Take 3.
So if you guys don't know who we are or what we're here to do, we are here to grade you. If you're in Foundation or WGP, everything you do, we are going to be judging you and very harshly judgmental. That is our motto, basically, is to hit you guys with the honest, harsh truth. It may be tough, but it's love. So starting this point forward, I guess if nobody's explaining to you guys, every single super show will be graded. Everything you've done in between those super shows will matter. Everything you do will be graded and will matter. And one one faction is gonna win, one brand is gonna win. It's either gonna be WGP or Foundation. Winning brand gets the keeper and the first round draft pick. Can't stress how important that is. And most importantly, you get bragging rights over the other brand. And we can see anybody who's in the locker rooms that Buckshot already been talking that shit. So we already know that the competition is gonna be fierce. So here we are to start with grading the draft and the rosters. Anything to add, gentlemen, before we get into the draft and the rosters?
Nah, man, you hit it right on the nose.
Yeah.
That's why I aim on my punches at, because if he can't breathe, he can't fight. Karate Kid 3. All right, so I guess let's just
comment for you.
That is exactly what he says. It's the C show, actually, if you were listening to the way he was talking about Foundation. He says you guys cannot absolutely compete. So as we break down these rosters, we haven't really discussed how we were going to do this. So, like I do everything, I'm just going to make some shit up. Cover your ears, son. So, I guess we should start by breaking down the first 5 picks. Day one, if you guys remember, damn it, I don't have my notes because I had to use my freaking phone. What was the grades we had for day one? Was it A and D? Was it an A minus and a D plus?
Yep, A minus D plus. That was.
So we had an A minus for Foundation on day one. We had a D plus for WGP. There was a lot of shocking moves. You guys want to touch on anything in specific? Wave?
Hey man, I really felt like Foundation kicked off the draft like they were really trying to pick up all the great picks. I'm not really sure what WGP was aiming for. I'm told trust the process. I really don't know what that means. But yeah, it seems like there was 2 entirely different ideologies with this draft.
It really was. Good God. Let me just look at these first 5 picks. Here you go. Foundation went A-list, Mr. Wallace, Don Krypton, Tyler Drummond, and AT, right? All 5 solid picks. You could put them in any Fed, and they would be great. They're going to be top tier. They're going to be main event. Then we go TV Greatness. Great pick. Dante
Great pick.
Black, it's a pretty good pick. I'll go with that.
I'm going to shit on that pick, but we'll get to that.
Chance Young. Really? Out of all the guys that are in this draft, Chance Young? I mean, this guy has been a master of no-shows throughout the promo world. This guy you couldn't depend on to save your life, and you're going to make him number 3? Good God. Joey Ramboa right there at number 4. That should have been 3. And then El Guapo at number 5. A solid pick there, maybe a little higher, a little lower on some people's boards. But, yeah, Chance Young, that was the dribbling shits on this top 5.
It was at this point where the tone was set where it was like, okay, when are WGP gonna start picking up main eventers? Because WGP draft was on the crack. I mean, that's how I felt looking at it, especially when we started with that Chance Young pick. The Chance Young pick was the worst pick possible, not just because of who you could have picked over him, but the simple fact of the matter is that if you wanted to wait until round 16, you could have got Chance Young in round 16. Absolutely. Was not even on Foundation's radar.
Look at that, Bones. Look, top 5 for Foundation. He's saying part-timers, though.
That's debatable. See, their Foundation, they did their homework. They were making moves behind the scenes. They didn't pick up A-List Alverson as a part-timer. They knew that A-List was back full-time, as well as DB. DB and A-List both were part-timers until they came back. A-List that's why A-List went number 2. That's why DB went number 1. They knew that they were both going to be full-time on these brands.
Okay, there are 2 Chance Youngs in this promo world. I don't know the other Chance Young, but if it's the Chance Young where I think it is, and I looked up with the tag, yeah, this guy's bad.
I don't know who Chance Young either of them are. All I know is that it seems like WGP was going for a surprise element, and I'm like, the flaw with that is that it still would have been a surprise in the 3rd day. So
Here's my thing about. Sorry.
Go ahead.
Here's my thing about surprises. Like, if you get me something for Christmas and I open up the box and there's shit in there, I'm gonna be surprised. That don't make it good. You can surprise the fuck out of me if you put some shit in the Christmas box.
Oh
It ain't
my
always.
god.
Sometimes the obvious answer is the right answer. In a draft, 100% the obvious answer is the right answer. Don Krypton, to me, Don Krypton should have been off DB and A list. I understand those two, but after that, Don Krypton. Plain as day is Don Krypton. Chance Young is wild to me. Wild. Dante Black also wild, but the fact Chance Young was such a horrible pick that we overlooked how bad of a pick Dante Black was. I'm the biggest Dante Black advocate there is. Personally, I think before the next draft, Dante Black gonna be like a world champion, like beat me or whoever supplants me. I personally think that. And I think Wapo the same. Like I think Wapo's gonna get much better by end of the draft. But I wouldn't draft on what I think someone's gonna do. When I can draft off of what I know I have. A bird in the hands or two in the bush.
Yeah, I mean, El Wapo's solid at 5. I mean, on some people's boards, he was probably like middle second round. I can see why they drafted there, but yeah, they screwed the pooch. You look at the rest of their draft picks down there from like 6 down. It's like, why did Chance Young go above these guys?
So me,
it's so bad that I'm a.
So to me, the thing is that the only person that was drafted on day 2 that was clearly belonging in day 1 is Trevor Robinson. You know, you put Trevor Robinson in the first day, then Chance Young automatically has to be bumped over. So I think it was a ridiculous loss, and the fact that you didn't get someone like Trevor Robinson anytime after is absurd.
I feel like if you were going to draft Chance Young 3rd, you might as well have just drafted Soul Stars Cable because at least we would have enjoyed it.
I know, man. I couldn't agree more.
So from there, I guess we look at what happened on the next subsequent 2 days because day 3 really I wouldn't even put by itself because it was slim pickings at that point.
Right.
Was there any big moves or big moments that you guys want to talk about before we get into this full roster breakdown?
I mean,
any huge missteps?
I mean, day 2 is about your mid-card to upper mid-card talent, your talent that you hope maybe in 3 months they could be in that main event picture. I mean, there's not a whole lot of guys that's in that where they could go up to that level. I mean, you got Master of Reality. He's well known. He's about that upper mid-card, could make main event. Jay Briggy as well. But yeah, I mean, a lot of these guys, like you've got TK3, who's about mid-card. You know, he's not going to be that main event attraction. He's not going to be on the poster where you go, I'm coming to TK3. Sam Spade, you know, Elijah McFly moving up on the ranks. He could, you know, at 3 to 6 month mark. But it's like, yeah, when you look at it, I mean, Jay Briggy, a solid one. Trevor Robinson, yeah, I agree. He probably could have went 1. I had him a little lower there, but I can see where it's going.
Yeah, with the exception of Trevor Robinson, I felt like everyone chosen on the second day literally belonged on the second day. You know, maybe where they fell in that rank could be debatable, but still, man, I felt like looking on day 2, WGP was still following the same philosophy from day 1. And I had to really remove myself as a competitor, because as a competitor, I'm like, am I a jobber? Like, I was wondering, like, what were they trying to accomplish here?
Oh yeah, he's back to illusion now. This is a weekly change between illusion and reality. It's like, come on, man, pick one, stick with it, build your gimmick, get up there and win a title, and stop this damn change shit.
No, I disagree. I think that we don't have enough schizophrenic characters on the promo verse, so I definitely know what he's doing here.
I mean, I don't know. I guess Dan counts as he's literally 3 different characters, and that's a wild thing too that we need to point out. How the draft went so poorly for WGP that they even got the worst version of Dan.
That is a good point. That is a good point. Foundation picked up Snez, and WGP picked up what's his name?
Jason Ridian.
Jason Ridian, yeah.
Jason Ridian. I was flabbergasted.
Look,
I'm flabbergasted because behind the scenes, the man Dan is the one drafting. So I don't understand how you didn't pick the better version of you.
Right.
Well, maybe this is a move, and this is all of a sudden going to become worse than Doof, and all of a sudden Ridian's going to become the GOAT. He and Tyler though.
yes, tag team match. Yeah, the current tag champions.
He brings up a good point. He brings up a good
Smith
point.
almost beat Bones though.
That's true.
That's the real point. Smith almost beat Bones for the title in one of the best matches of the year.
Stess is a steal where he was at. I mean, like I said, he has that potential. He could go up.
Indeed. Who else specifically important that we talked about heavily that are we missing?
Are we talking second round?
Second round, yeah.
Second round. Yeah, Buckshot's in there. I mean, I think that's about where he belongs, right about number 10. You know, he's right in that
I would have
spot.
put Buckshot higher. Buckshot is going because Buckshot will give you that energy. Buckshot is probably the best pick WGP get outside of the obvious, right? Because Buckshot, first off, Buckshot's already like fucked the other side. Buckshot is gonna give you that energy. He's gonna try to draw everybody as much as he can. He's gonna show up every time. Whether or not I feel like some good things on the rise from him as well, honestly, from my own perspective of me and him having conversations. Buckshot was kind of the win that WGP got and WGP needed.
See, look, Foundation wanted Buckshot. Buckshot would have been like LA Knight in the WWE. He would have been in the middle of the shuffle, middle of the pack. Nobody would have been able to push him up there because there's so many other guys ahead of him.
That's true. He would have never had his shot had he been in Foundation. He would have been essentially a nice looking jobber like LA Knight.
Yeah. I mean, over in WGP, he has a chance to become WGP champion there. There's a couple guys ahead of him, but he can be competitive.
Yeah, man, I agree. I think that Buckshot, Jay Briggy, and Trevor Robinson definitely should have been the first 3 picks day number 2. No question about it.
Agreed. So we got the day that doesn't matter.
Day 3.
My biggest takeaway from day 3 was that AJ Storm is by far better than Soul Star. Like that was weird. That was such a flip flop of decision. I think maybe they didn't know which one was which.
Yeah, I agree. I think that they thought that AJ Storm was the one who couldn't break the table, but it is what it is. This is how it went down. Ironically, on day number 3, on the most unimportant day of all, WGP is the one that gets the better selections over Foundation. Foundation, right from the gate, decided to choose Soul Star, and I was wondering if they just started to feel remorse. Like, man, we really killing WGP. Let's let them have something.
Let's give them something.
I can't.
I mean, that was my impression. I've only been here or paying attention for 9 months, but fuck you.
I mean, I'm just going to say it. So I apologize. I don't mean to hurt anybody's feelings, but I'm going to be direct. He is the 8th-string quarterback right behind we're shit out of luck. Seriously. Why the fuck did anybody draft him at the point they did? I don't know.
And listen, the draft was already uneven. This could have been the person who just didn't get drafted. I don't understand.
Yeah, you know, it's crazy. I will tell you though, in the 3rd round, there's a couple in there that really stick out. The end, I mean, he could have went 2nd round. I get that.
The end was a great pick for that day.
Right, that's a great pickup for WGP. Vega for Foundation. That's going to be interesting because people like him. And he's starting to grow a little bit on people. So, I mean, he could be moving up the ladder. The rest of them, though, you look at like Big LT, Sir Captain, Founding Father, Black Plague, Gunshot, Dr. Doof. It's like, okay, that's about where you expected him to be, about 3rd round. They got some work to do. They could go up, but they've got to really focus and harness on their craft.
And to be clear, up for them is like the mid card.
Yeah.
To be direct, we told you guys we weren't gonna lie to you.
Yeah, I mean, and that's SNES's partner. I think SNES is going to be able to mentor him and he's going to be able to move up a little bit, he could be towards that Blueprint title. There is that possibility for him, I think.
That'd be a good matchup, man.
So,
Vega versus
everybody,
Wagner.
what before we get into the actual way the roster looks, just off the draft, what grades would you give it? Would you give
Overall?
them? Overall, the whole thing, each side, for the draft only, not how it looks when we look at it.
Overall, I'd give Nation like a C, maybe a B minus. And WGP for sure is getting a D, man. Like nothing could save him in the third day. It's like, oh, you know, these were the best. I'm not even going to give the analogy I was going to give. Let's just say that overall, I thought it was a D.
All right, and Quack, would you also give Foundation the D?
Ayo.
I'm sorry. Would you give WGP the D?
On day 3 or overall?
Overall.
Overall, I'll go C minus because they got some picks there that are decent. They make up for the bad picks in the first 2 rounds. I think they're going to be competitive, and I saw this up here earlier. I can't get to it. Asking about which is easier to book. I almost think WGP is going to be easier to book because you've got competitive matches. It's like when you have the 6-10 Cowboys taking on the 6-10 Eagles when they're both having a shitty season. It's like, all right, I'll still watch this. Who's going to win? I don't know. But I'll give Foundation. I'll actually give them the A minus on that. They drafted very well. Third round, I can't really hold too much against it. They've got lower guys they can build, but they've got a lot of big stars. So their main event and their middle of the pack on the matches will look good. Hopefully they'll spread that out because they need to cover it.
Yeah, I would go A minus and D plus. A minus Foundation, D plus WGP. So with that being said, with the couple more minutes that we got left, let's talk about how the actual rosters look and how they're gonna move with those rosters. And just like you touched on a little bit, Quack, how hard it's gonna be for Foundation to book with what they have, with the egos that they have to keep in check and compared to WGP, with the people who are part-time, the people who just say no. For example, even though I'm on both brands, I refuse to work weekly shows. Like you can't make me do a match on Blueprint. You can't make me do a match on WoW. It's gotta be something special for me to do a match on WoW Blueprint because I mean the name's Ultra Ego, and I try to keep that character alive. So, but you have the issue with everyone else on Foundation. I don't see that issue gonna be on WGP.
Yeah, that's a great point. Everyone in WGP is looking like they are going to be willing to work on a frequent basis. Foundation, as much as I love all of those names up top, I'm sure that the majority of those people on day number 1 have it written in their contract to have a part-time contract. So these are all excellent points. I mean, there's a part of me that's wondering if this is a little bit kayfabe. You know, we have Hollywood Haywood, who's the owner of both brands. Is he potentially turning this into an AEW Ring of Honor situation? Is WGP Ring of Honor, is he secretly sabotaging the show? These are all things that will be uncovered in the upcoming months.
I think my thing about it is Dan's hilarious. The comparison I make is when you said that about the even level competition. There's also even level competition in Foundation. If talking outside kayfabe, if Haywood can wrangle his competitors to actually do their things, like he could be his pay-per-views could be a night of main events. And everybody, it doesn't have to be for the title, right? If you got guys who know how to make themselves seem important, like I know for a fact a lot like Don Krypton, Trevor Robinson, I would say for sure, will make their matches and their stories seem so important that they don't need a title involved, right? So you get them guys making stories with people who don't matter. Let's say you put Don Krypton in the story with AJ Storm. That story is gonna matter because Don Krypton cares about making his story matter. Conversely, I see a lot of guys on WGP who I feel like really are there to show up to fight, but don't really care about making their story up to the point of the fight. They're gonna show up and fight, but are they gonna build a story, or is Dan gonna have to step out? Because Dan is excellent and creative. I'll give him that much. But are the guys gonna be able to make the stories that he gives them work?
And here you go. This is just sidebar here on this. Hypes, right? People think that if I drop 5 or 6 hypes in a row, it means that I'm out here and I'm fired up. But if you're saying the same shit, nobody's really giving a fuck. It's white noise. You got to pump people up. Guys like, okay, on Foundation, where you've got A-List, who can drop a hype probably once or every 2 weeks, and people will tune into it because his hypes are there. It grabs you from the camera. It pulls you in. Guys like that, guy like Don Krypton, Mr. Wallace, these guys, they will grab that camera from you. And the big thing on this is going to matter on how booking. Now, if you book all your low-level matches at 1 through 4, yeah, nobody's going to tune into match 5. You got to have that wave effect a little bit. You got to have a good match to open. You got to have a good match before commercial. You got to have things in between to make the not so great matches in between like cool-offs. Like, hey, I'm going to go get a beer. I'm going to concessions. And then I come back and I'm watching the great match.
Right.
Agreed.
That's a big thing.
Wave?
Nothing much, man. You guys have covered it all. You guys have covered it well.
And one more thing I like to add into about hypes. Just hyping just because. Please, okay, he done. Please, if you guys could, don't just keep posting a whole bunch of hype. Now I gotta take this from you. I gotta take it from you. Yeah. Okay, please don't just drop. I'm trying to watch everything. Some of you niggas, some of you guys are boring. I said the N-word. I'm sorry, Dan. I promise I didn't mean to. Some of you guys are mad boring, and you drop a hype, and I feel like I'm obligated to try to watch it, but then you push me out of watching it. That's kind of gonna count too against you going forwards. So like, don't just drop hype just because you feel like you're obligated to drop a hype. Your hype should make me want to watch your match. That's like the real point. If you're in the blood feud with somebody, yes, drop a hype and remember how much you hate that person. If that's how I'm supposed to feel.
And I think that's one thing that WGP has in their advantage, because the culture in WGP is like, take Mr. Wallace, for example. Yesterday he dropped a WoW. He dropped a full episode of WoW. No matches, no hypes, him by himself, killing it. The music, the ambiance, the story, putting over the matches that we're about to see, putting over Joey Ramboa versus Bones, putting over everyone that's going to be having matches at this next PPE. That was a vibe. A lot of times, that's one of the things that gets me frustrated with Foundation is like, you just want to put everyone in your locker room in matches, and that's a beautiful thing that you want everyone to feel incorporated, but you shouldn't feel like you're dragging people to work, man. These guys are here voluntarily. And if they don't want to have a match, they shouldn't be told, hey, you're facing this guy this week. No, if he doesn't want to work, leave his ass in the back, man. Leave his ass in the back. And when he comes back in 2 months talking about, how come you guys never book me? Pull up the receipts of how he does not put himself in positions to succeed.
Yeah. Commentary, this is a big thing here. Look, that's the gap. That's called the bumper there. You got the match, you got the commentary spot, the next match. All you mainly need to do on commentary is to make sure people understand what is coming up, what just happened, and move forward. I mean, you don't need 5-10 minutes between commentary. You need roughly about 45 seconds to a minute and a half, depending on what you're talking about. Just need enough there so where people can go, okay, I digested what I saw. I'm getting ready for what's next.
And that him saying he fired A-List makes me wonder what his next move is as far as Foundation, because that part of the aspect, without A-List, I don't know who you would have that's going to match up when you get welcome, Bobby. I don't know how you're going to match up when you get Mr. Wallace on the other side, like doing an impeccable, entertaining job of being a host. Like it's. So you really gotta compare. You really gotta compete on that. You guys gotta compete on your graphics and every piece of it, because we care every part of what you're doing. That's determining who's gonna win, and we're gonna drag y'all or praise y'all one way or the other. You getting the honest by God truth.
Listen, One thing that I definitely encourage from both sides: Foundation locker room, WGP locker room, you're not just competing against the people in your locker room, you're competing against the other brand. I want to see tribalism. I want you to wave your flag higher than the other team. And if you feel like you like the other team better, say that. Wave the flag for the other team while you're in this locker room, but do something. Make us interested. Make this fun. This is a once in a lifetime opportunity.
Absolutely.
I'm not supposed to say this, but I'm going to say this here. There is actually one person I have talked to that has already said they want to be traded to the other brand.
Oh, wow.
They are very
I want to
upset.
point out, I
Can
am
we interview
I am
him?
so relieved. I'm so relieved right now because when you said you weren't supposed to say it, but you were going to say it, I thought you was going to say the N-word. So I'm glad that we got that out the way. We're all safe.
Come on, man. You know we better than that. But yeah, there's somebody out there is very upset in their locker room. They want to go to the other brand. I'm not telling who, but if you message me, I might give you a hint.
We need to interview him. Bring him here. I want to talk to him.
Bring him here. So that being said, as far as the rosters go, who you think has the best roster for what they're going to for? Who you think has the best chance overall based on their roster and what we already know and feel about how these guys put their shows together? Quack, you go ahead.
I'm sorry, what happened? I was looking at the comments.
Who do you think is at the advantage at this point? At this point, with the roster they have and with the not just the roster, but like
right now,
already.
Foundation, I think that's kind of given. They've got a lot more star power. It's all going to depend what happens over that next 3 months, how they use the guys. I think WGP can gain on them. It's just all going to depend on how motivated they are and how competitive they make those matches. They don't drop a lot of hypes on their page. It's usually through WoW only.
Which I personally prefer.
I do too.
I find keeping up with hypes on the page is difficult, especially if they matter towards your story. And I've got to make sure I don't miss something you dropped on the page. What about you, Rambosa?
Listen, man, I feel like as much as we're dunking on this draft today and we're dunking on WGP making some poor choices, my honest truth, what I believe is in 6 months, when we're looking back at everything that unfolded, we will be seeing a WGP that thrived, that's healthy, new stars, simply because of the stars that are already there that have player coach qualities and also the coaches that they have in that locker room. That's the biggest difference. The leadership in WGP is definitely going to lead them in the right direction. And when I look at Foundation, as excited as I am about the big names, there's a few of them there that I'll be like, they're not going to last the 6 months. They're going to drop off. They're going to say, I don't want to do this. They're going to go do something else. You know, that's my honest opinion.
I actually think that's a great assessment, especially when you bring up the coaching inside of there, because you guys have a lot of guys, myself included, that care so much about the guys under them getting better if they just come to you. Personally, I can personally say it. I won't say who, but personally, I'm working with like 4 guys in WGP right now. I don't think I'm working with anybody that's in Foundation, but I know 4 guys I'm working with in WGP right now, and honestly, I think 2 or 3 of them can be main event level in the next 2 months, based on what they're giving me when I give them their feedback and whatsoever. And then the other guys who aren't will probably jump in my inbox and I'll help them out. If they don't, if not me, there's you, there's DB, who's probably the best coach possible for anyone. DB is like a goat of coaching. Then there's Mr. Wallace, who, even though he's in Foundation, he really wants WGP to win. So I'll say that WGP has a much better chance than they have if I just based on how horribly they drafted. I don't think they got the parts, but I think that somehow they can pull this off. I think it's going to be a real close competition, honestly, based on these things. I think it's going to be close. Personally, I know that it depends on whether or not I lose to my first opponent. If I lose my first opponent in WGP, then WGP going to go to shit because that guy can't carry the load.
Well,
but in all seriousness, though, I do think that it's going to be much closer. If I had to put my money on somebody, though, I would still be putting my money on Foundation. And I think that a lot of the problems that we had, I think we all shared the same issues with Foundation, putting everybody on the show being too long. I think that Foundation just solved that problem completely. Because everybody on the show right now, they just going to have a bunch of good matches.
Yeah.
You know, if they try to force everybody on the show, they have good matches and some squashes, or however it goes. But I don't think they were going to put everybody on the show, because at this point they got only 19 people to play with. If they wanted to make everybody happy, it's way less people to make happy. So I think that the biggest flaw of Foundation has been solved. And WGP, who I feel like honestly always put together a better and more solid show in general, they're gonna have to. They're counting on their talent to step up. And the question is, are they going to step up or not? They get the opportunity now. Dan is really counting on his guys to step up and take this opportunity and shine. It's possible. But if I put money on it, I will be putting my money on Foundation. That's why
As long as they stop the bad table spots, we're going to be good to go. I think Foundation's going to be fine.
Yeah, let's
You know, the angles, they're nice, but make sure they work right. Make sure you have the right people to do that angle. That's what I'm saying.
yeah. If you don't go through a table, go through the motherfucking table.
I think they need somebody like a Buffer and Foundation that says, "Hey man, I appreciate that you did this video, but I can't air this video on my show." You know, you need someone to be like, "No, that no."
Yeah,
Yes,
let's not do that.
The Hell in the Cell with the watermarks behind both of you. Yes, that did not look realistic,
More.
young man.
All right. So, anything else to add before we go?
I'm good, man.
I think we said everything we need to say.
He's been Crack. He's been Wave Seltzer. I've been Bones, and you've been entertained.